quorum.
All right, well, it is almost 6 o'clock, and I hear the chime outside.
Yep.
6 o'clock. Going to call to order the regularly scheduled meeting of the Redevelopment Commission. And can we start off with a roll call, please?
Absolutely, Madam Chair. Sharon Bryant.
Here.
Jimmy Dillahunt. Sarah Proctor.
Here.
Leander Morgan, Jr.
Here.
You're right
Steve Strickland.
Here.
Julius Parham.
Here.
Kip Paragite.
Here.
Beth Walker.
Here?
Tabari Wallace. Rick Prill. Barbara Best. Hazel Royal. Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Excellent. The first item, or the next item on our agenda, is the approval of the minutes. And these are the meeting minutes for our meeting held on October 9th. And I believe we all received an amended version of those meeting minutes via email. Everybody had a chance to look at those. If there's no other concerns, can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Ooh, have a motion in 2 seconds. I don't think we need any discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed? Motion carries, and the meeting minutes from October 9th are approved. The next thing is we're going to approve tonight's agenda, and that was also sent out. Everybody's had a chance to look at it. Can I get a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So move. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed? Motion carries, and we're going to approve our agenda and move forward with it as it is printed and as you have received it. Tonight, we always start with reading our guiding principles and our mission. I'm going to read the mission tonight, and then we'll go around like we do and do the guiding principles. Our mission as the New Bern Redevelopment Commission is leading the way for community transformation and improvement by directly addressing community needs in the vital areas of public health, infrastructure, housing, and economic development. The Commission is committed to an accountable, transparent, and publicly driven process. So I'll start on that end with Commissioner Bryant for our first guiding principle.
Past, present, future, equal times.
Respect others' opinions.
Listen to build consensus.
Share accurate information, public perception.
Stay focused, be action-oriented.
Believe.
Believe. Thank you, Commissioner Strickland. All right. And the next thing is our public comment. We invite members of the public to attend our meetings monthly, and anyone who wishes to speak has 4 minutes to speak.
Madam Chair, for the record, I just want to acknowledge Alderman Rick Prill's in attendance tonight as an ex officio member. And Mr. Prill, if you'd like to come, we do have a chair with a microphone. I said you're welcome to join us in the dais if you'd like. Okay. It's good to have you tonight, sir.
Thank you for adding that.
Of course.
And I'm assuming we have no public comments at this time. So we will move on to our next agenda item, which is old business. And in order to spend more time on the new business, I don't think we have any updates that I've heard of for these projects. And I'll ask you, Mr. Huff, if you have anything that you know of from the project groups that you feel like we need to be updated on in the old business, the West A Street project, First Avenue update, Eubanks Project. And I do see we do have the calendar, so we'll look at that.
Yeah. Madam Attorney, we just had a conversation with the CDBG consultant, and really brief overview of that conversation, just so everyone can stay abreast of the conversation. Really, all action concerning the Eubanks will happen in December, but if our attorney would just update us as to where we are with that, that might be beneficial to the commission briefly.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Huff. Madam Chair, members of the Commission, good evening. I had the privilege of attending a Teams meeting with our CDBG consultant city CDBG staff, Mr. Huff, and our office to help iron out the pathway forward for the 911 Eubanks House. As you all are very familiar, CDBG funds were utilized in the rehabilitation of that structure, so we have to comply with not just our redevelopment commission statutes, but also federal guidelines. And in that conversation, we were able to iron out what our immediate next steps will be. First of which, our CDBG consultant has advised that we need to get three appraisals, three quotes for appraisals for the property. And we select the winning person in that process to do an appraisal of the 911 Eubanks structure. The purpose of getting that appraisal is to give CDBG and HUD some idea of the value, and we'll talk about why that's important going forward. Additionally, we discussed the terms that need to be included in the notices to the public. Obviously, the goal in this situation is to have a homeowner who is low to moderate income be able to reside in that property, and to satisfy all of the legal requirements both at the state and federal level. There's certain particulars that we need to put in there. So one, the residence has to be used as a primary residence by the person who wins the bid. Two, there's a lien, affordability lien on that property for the next 20 years to ensure that all of the conditions are satisfied. We're also asking, the CDBG consultant advised us that we need to get certain income verification information, W-2s, birth certificates, so that we can ensure that the person who's making the bid is who they say they are, and two, meet the threshold using the HUD guidelines for low to moderate income persons. We also have an opportunity to establish a minimum bid if you'd like to, but that is not a requirement for CDBG. So after we indicate when we're ready to publish that notice, there are a couple of processes that we can use to convey that property. As you know, we're creatures of statute, so we have to check one of those property disposition methods. I think staff is recommending that we utilize the sealed bid process, which would allow people to make an offer to purchase. They can use one of several methodologies in order to pay a deposit towards that bid amount. Cash, cashier's check, certified funds, or a surety bond. That surety bond would allow individuals that may be working with state agencies to not necessarily have to put up cash, but may be able to use government funding or assistance to be able to certify that they are willing to move forward with this purchasing process. The bid period will run, and whoever is the highest responsible bidder will be conveyed to DeAsia, who is our in-house CDBG person. DeAsia will then look at the income verification information that has been provided by the bidder to verify that they do, in fact, meet the qualifications of a low to moderate income person. Assuming they meet that qualification, the highest responsive bidder will be brought to you all for you all to accept and award the bid or reject all bids. Additionally, our CDBG consultant has indicated that a subrecipient agreement is necessary because we're making yet another minor change. That is not something, according to our CDBG consultant, that is a laborious process. It's just a document that you and the city would sign, just agreeing to these parameters for utilizing the CDBG funds. And then once the sale is complete, anything that's program income will be reimbursed back to CDBG. Certain expenses are going to be deducted from that, and a low to moderate income person will be a homeowner on Eubanks Street. So next steps going forward are our CDBG consultant is preparing the subrecipient agreement. We're hopeful to have that document for your review and consideration at the December meeting. Mr. Huff has already identified some individuals to contact as far as the appraisal goes. As you know, the Redevelopment Commission statutes say that for certain professional services, you don't have to bid it. So he's getting some estimates of what those costs might be so that we can move forward with the appraise process. I'm trying to think, is there anything else of note that I am omitting? Once we have the subrecipient agreement in place and we know the appraised value, then you all can entertain whether you would like to initiate the sealed bid process.
It seems like a lot of progress has been made on that property. Appreciate you giving us such a good summary there.
As soon as we have a draft of the subrecipient agreement, we'll be asking the project team to meet again so that we can go over the particulars with the project team, as well as getting the appraisal process underway. If that direction is given to me this evening.
Okay.
And one other piece that I might add, I think I'm reading Mr. Strickland's mind, is that the amount of the lien on the property will be the difference between the appraised value and whatever the purchase price is. So if the property appraises at, let's just say, $100,000 and it's sold for something less than that, the amount of the lien is the difference between the two. Did I say that correctly, Mr. Hubb?
You did.
So that's the purpose of
And
the
that
appraisal.
was a sticking point. That's new information, and I do want to just say, one of the reasons we've said for the last couple of months that this is complex is because it is complex, and we're working on a really, really interesting landscape between federal, state, and local laws. So we're being very careful to thread the needle well, and so we do appreciate everyone's patience.
Probably not the right question to ask at this time, but does that lien stay with the property, you said, for 20 years?
For 20 years.
If the person who buys this property is able or needs to sell it to somebody else who also meets the criteria, does the lien just stay on the property, or does it have to be satisfied by 20 years of ownership of the person who buys it from us?
The lien runs with the land.
Okay.
And I believe if our CDBG consultant were here, so long as that conveyance was to another person that meets the low to moderate income threshold, there's no penalty.
Correct, because the lien is there to make sure that the national objective, the federal national objective, is being met. So long as we stay in compliance, or that they stay in compliance with that, then the lien will follow the land.
Okay.
Well stated.
All right. Thank you very much. Yes?
She got one of them, but I have one more. So who's responsible for ensuring compliance with the requirements throughout the life of the?
That is a very good question. So the monitoring, as I understand it, Mr. Hubb, is going to be done by the city's CDBG staff.
Correct. Once the property is disposed, which is a legal term, which carries negative connotations, but once we sell the land, our part as the commission will essentially be over. It will be a CDBG run program, and the coordinator will monitor from that point on.
So what should become of the property if they fail to comply? Does it revert back to us? Does the lien attach and they collect on it?
They collect on the lien, yeah.
That's my understanding, but I'm happy to consult with Carl to be 100% sure that that's the answer. Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that update. Sorry to push through it.
No.
I'm not used to having such a good CDBG update on that project.
We spent a lot of staff time on Eubanks Street this month, so thank you, Madam Attorney,
Yes.
for that update.
I have one question, it may be out of context, but that's the house that the $200-some thousand was spent on.
The one that we moved.
So what loss will there be, or will there be any loss on that house? And who's going to absorb that loss?
If I understand your question, you're asking will there be any loss, and I
Yes.
believe to the Redevelopment Commission for that
To
property?
anyone?
To anyone. Well, the money was from the CDBG program, and I believe that is why the lien will be placed on the property until the project meets or to ensure that it meets the goal, the federal goal of providing housing for a certain.
And Madam Chair, if I could just jump in. At this point, we don't know if there'll be a loss because we don't know what the purchase price will be. So in the sealed bid process, we don't know what an individual might be willing to pay or what they might qualify for. So once we have an appraised value and once we know what the fair market value is based on the bids that we receive, we can assess whether there's a loss to the CDBG fund, to the commission, or to anyone else.
Okay, I understand there was over $200,000 spent on the house. That's my understanding. I may be wrong.
That is correct. No, you're absolutely correct. That's the project we're talking about.
Yeah, I knew it was. So I'm just curious of who's going to absorb that loss if CBG, or is it gonna be a reflection on us for that much money being spent in that house?
Understand. I think, if I can clarify your question, if I may, Madam Chair.
Absolutely.
I think what you're asking is, if we don't sell that house for $239,000, which is what we spent, will the commission be responsible for reimbursing the delta? Is that what you're asking?
More or less.
Okay. As I understand it from our conversation the other day, what CDBG is most concerned about is meeting the national objective. And so long as we meet the national objective, we will not be asked to reimburse anything. The reason they're asking us to get an appraisal is so that we can be sure, under federal guidelines, that we at least know what the market rate for that house would be, and that would set the second position lien on the house, as opposed to the actual cost spent, because we know that there's some separation, quite a bit of separation between what we spent on the project and what the fair market rate on the project actually is. So that's the reason we're having to get the appraisal. But that's a good question, and to my understanding, and I do want to preface with my current understanding, we would not be responsible for the delta.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for the updates. I think, unless there's updates that I'm overlooking on the other projects for old business.
Nope, it's just the calendar.
Okay, the calendar. And the only thing about the calendar, we looked through the meetings as a group last meeting, the meeting schedule kind of, you had it in our packet. And we have not decided on a date for our planning session.
So that was at the bottom of the sheet. I do want to just say for the record, Mr. Strickland had his hand up. So I don't know if you want to come back or, okay. On the bottom, additional meetings and events. Instead of having a regular monthly meeting in January, we're moving our meeting to Saturday, January 18th, which is the third Saturday in January, for the Strategic Commission retreat. And so that was at the bottom of the page, and I apologize if you missed that. But all of the other meetings listed were the second Wednesday of each month, except January. And the regular scheduled meetings will begin at 6 p.m., held at the New Bern City Hall in the courtroom, and special instructions and agendas for the budget review meeting in May and Strategic Commission retreat in January will be provided in advance by staff.
All right. So do we need, is it just a consensus to approve that? I'm thinking that the commission is not going to take exception to that, because we're meeting on the same night that we've been meeting on, and
I believe we do need to take a voice vote to approve.
need a motion to approve it?
Yes,
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve adopting our meeting calendar for next year?
So moved.
Have a motion and a second?
Second.
And a second. And did I hear you say we need a voice vote for that?
I said you need a motion, but you
Oh,
can
motion.
entertain a voice vote. Yes, ma'am.
Just the all in favor?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and there's no questions on that from anybody?
Did we said the third Saturday in January? So for the,
It's January 18th.
yeah, okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have a motion to adopt our meeting calendar as clarified for us for the year 2025. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed? And the motion carries, and the calendar has been adopted. And I recommend everybody put their January 18th date on your calendar right now,
Yes, ma'am.
because it will come around fast, and maybe there's nothing on that date right now on your calendar. Okay. So, chomping at the bit to get to the new business. Can I move to that? Executive Director.
Madam Chair, Mr. Strickland still has his hand raised.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you were going to circle back. Go ahead.
I'm assuming this is the most appropriate place because it is old business. The minutes indicate a Walt Bellamy extension through November 15th. Are we still, is that a go, or is that
I'll follow up with council for the housing authority.
okay?
I haven't heard anything to the I haven't heard anything besides that, so I would assume in 2 days. But I look forward to your follow-up. All right.
All right, thank you.
I think
Sorry
you finally
for
get your
ignoring
wish,
you.
Chair.
So, new business, the first item under that is to consider accepting the winning bid for the Bloomfield project. And as our executive director said, it's been a day of surprises because we actually do have one bid for this project. Do you want to tell us about it?
Yes, Unshakable Builders put in a bid over the minimum bid price. They have bid $15,100 for this project. They have agreed to our parameters and restrictions. They've included in their packet all necessary, all requested documentation. And should the commission accept their bid this evening, we'll put in the paperwork for an appropriate request to purchase and go to the Board of Aldermen as soon as tomorrow morning. Did I miss anything, Madam Attorney? This is the first time I've unsealed a bid for this commission.
We will not be going to the Board of Aldermen tomorrow morning, but we can begin that process.
He said that was $16,000.
So, have you had the opportunity to look through the bid to see that it had all the elements that were required to be in the bid?
Yes, all of the elements that were required to be in the bid were in the bid. The design was in compliance. All of the proper insurances were there, and the city clerk checked it before she left this evening. So it is a legitimate bid, and we checked it out with all of our legal minds. So it's good.
So we are considering accepting that bid, and I know that it is, I mean, I'm going to be honest, it's a little bit tricky because none of us have seen that bid to know. So, and I know you didn't have it when you thought you were going to have it. So, I mean, you know.
Well, I want to remind the commission, the consideration at this point is just the price. They've met all the restrictions, which is what the sealed bid requires. And so because this is a legitimate bid, the only thing that the commission can deliberate on is the price. And so their high bid is $15,100. So you can accept that bid based on price and the fact that they met all of your previously prescribed restrictions, or you can reject all bids and send this back to the project team. And so one of the reasons that you don't have the bid in front of you is because no other aspects of the bid package, so long as it is a legitimate bid, can be considered except the highest bid. That is when we agree to a sealed bid process, that is what we are agreeing to. So that we will go with the highest and most responsive bid. Responsive being defined by the fact that they've included everything that we asked them to include in their bid packet. Is that correct, Madam Attorney?
I'll say this, that the bid deadline was actually today. So when your agenda package went out, there was still an opportunity for people to submit bids. So when the bid deadline closed, the city clerk opened the only bid that was here. That's the documentation that we have with us. Now, certainly, if you would like to see these documents, they're public documents now. So if you'd like for us to pass them around, we do have a copy this evening. We don't have the actual physical check because that is being held in trust by the city clerk. But you're entitled to see those documents if you'd like to. But I will tell you that Mr. Huff has given a good recitation to include, I think he provided a copy of his general contractor's license, his comprehensive and liability insurances, a list of his subcontractors, proof of funds to finance the project, all of the information that you indicated that you wanted that was in the public notice is in his package.
The package that went out had sample plans, floor plans.
Yes, sir.
Did the bid include that this is what we're going to bid, or did
Yes, sir.
build, or did they submit a separate set of plans?
No, sir. If my memory serves me correctly, Mr. Huff has those documents. They included in their bid package the design that you bid out.
Okay.
Yep, they agreed to our sample site plan.
Good deal.
Which was vetted by our planning and zoning and the whole 9 yards. And they were in consultation with me, excuse me, throughout the month. So I don't know if I'm allowed to give you that information, but you have it now. So.
And what was the name of the bidder? I'm sorry, say that again.
Unshakable Builders, Inc. They're out of Greenville. They've done similar work. They've done similar revitalization work in Greenville. Their most recent project that they co-developed on was the West New Bern Lincoln Park development.
I think that's important to know, that
West
they
New
are
Bern or West
viable.
Greenville?
West
builders.
Greenville, sorry, I misspoke. Thank you.
I mean, that they have done a similar development project recently in nearby.
Yeah, their references are impeccable. Actually, Mr. Merrill Flood made the introduction.
Okay. Any other questions from the commission for Mr. Yes? What, Mr. Proctor?
What's the value of the property or the 75% threshold? I don't see that in.
The 75% threshold was around 13,000.
Okay.
I won't botch the actual number again, but it was around 13,000.
So this is, their bid is above the minimum bid required.
Correct.
And they're buying it to build these houses and sell themselves, not go back through us and have us sell them and all that stuff.
That is correct.
Yeah, okay.
This is per statute what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
We're a public body. Our job is to get land back into private hands with restrictions, and that's what you have the opportunity to do tonight.
Commissioner Strickland?
Oh, Mr. Parham was beating me to the punch, so.
No,
Okay.
it's kind of ironic that you tell me who this company is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Today, I was on one of his developments and didn't know it.
Yeah, it's
The gentleman does some great work in housing. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say. And I didn't know this was the same guy.
I can't get as excited
Thank
as
you
you are,
for-
but I am.
Man, you know,
Thank you for sharing that.
yeah, if he's buying this to do it, and if it's anything to do with the developments of the homes he builds, this should be very nice.
And I
didn't know
can
who it was.
echo what he just said, an excellent developer.
Yeah,
I mean, high class house,
yes,
Yeah.
very much,
if you want to say high class.
yeah.
But nevertheless, in my opinion, I think we at least need to put the bids out again versus just taking one. You don't know what you're taking.
But if nobody else bids,
I mean, I've been to several bids, 2 people bid, but you have to have 3. So the bids are rescinded till you get 3 bidders. After the second time around, you have a choice of taking the best of the 2. If 3 didn't bid, but 1, you need some kind of competition there. In my opinion, which is about
yeah.
that much, about that much.
And I do believe we are in a position that we are not required as a public body. We don't have that requirement to have 3 bids to open. We just needed 1 bid.
Right.
That's correct.
Okay.
We do.
But that's just my opinion. You got 1 bid, and if that's what you want to do, sure. But I definitely get that.
Okay, thank you. And I'm going to go back to Commissioner Strickland because he gave up the floor a minute ago.
All right, 2 points just to confirm. I was obviously not here last meeting, but I watched that video a couple times. I want to make clear a couple things. So there's a third option on the table, is just take no action right now and wait till next month, right? That's the legal
Correct.
guidance that we got
Correct.
last time. So it's not an all or nothing right now if the board wants to take the time. And I do appreciate the feedback, Mr. Parham, of that work. And Mr. Huff, as you said, recommendation from Mr. Merrill is pretty strong in the grand scheme of things. I respect both of that. But I would still like some time. I would appreciate myself time to do a little bit of more homework, if you will,
Yeah.
on that. Secondly, and I think this was also evident in the packet changes that were made. In reviewing that video, it felt like the guidance that was given to the board was that 75% number was going to be 20,000. I think 22,000 was actually quoted as the number that was there. So whenever I saw the number go down to 13 and some change, obviously he came in above that. But I felt like the board was generally led to believe that number was gonna be 20.
So I reviewed the video after at the behest of our chair, and if you go back and look at the manuscript, what the actual motion was the motion was 75% of the tax assessed value.
Right.
I did say $22,000, and what that was based on was a project team conversation, which you were a part of, wherein we had looked at additional parcels to add to this development as a potential way to expand the project, and we ultimately decided not to follow that guidance. So that's where the extra amount came from. But after reviewing and in consultation with both our attorney and the chair, the motion was 75% of the tax assessed value, and so that's what we were kind of forced to go with, just because that was the action taken by the commission. So,
which does follow what we've sold before.
Yes, which
that's
follows precedent and what's outlined in our rules of procedure.
Okay. So building from that again, I will echo. I agree with that. The 75% was the motion. I just kind of want to throw out that 20 number was what people had in mind, even though the actual language was 75%. That 20 number was what was out there. So I was a little surprised to see that come down some now. But do we have, and this is something I'd like to see before I become going forward, just so I know what our investment is, an accounting of what we've spent on that property. I know that we got funds from the city on the front end to do some of the work along with the property. When they gave it, there were funds. But I also feel like we've expended some of our own funds to buy those back parcels.
We have not. That was all reimbursed through Bobby Astor, through the health and wellness appropriation, which is why we didn't give the total amount. We didn't give the total amount to Carolina East for the Third Avenue project. The initial funds were deducted, and so all of our no general funds were expended from the Redevelopment Commission. So our all-in cost is zero.
Okay.
Because I believe Commissioner Paraguay pointed that out, and so I contacted Finance, and that was the guidance Finance gave me.
Okay, I'd really like to see the details so we can just confirm. I appreciate that guidance, but I'd like to see the detail where the follow-up acquisition and then the remediation testing that was done.
I'll hook you up with Ms. Kim Rose, because you won't get
I
that
could
from
see
me,
that,
but
I feel a
I'll
lot
give you
better
to
about
Finance all day long. You guys can volley that back and forth.
I'll accounting dork out all day long with her.
Yeah.
Okay, and Commissioner Proctor, sorry to get back to you,
I'm
but
good.
you're good? Okay. And if, I just want to clarify that if this is a development by this developer, we are selling the land to him.
That's correct.
So that's where the co-development stops. We sell the land, he develops it. If he's unable to develop it, as we have prescripted in our restrictions, then the land reverts back to us.
That
And
is
he does
correct.
not get his money back.
That is correct and very, very clear cut.
Okay. So what we are doing is giving the person the opportunity to purchase the land for development that we have laid out as the appropriate development with restrictions on time, energy, efficiency, and we gave him duplex layouts.
Yep.
To build, okay. So, I heard also concern about moving forward. Should we wait with the project? The person who's the head of that project group is not with us this evening, and I don't know if you've had a chance to discuss this with him. I have not, but I feel like, well, I can't speak for him.
I've said all that I can
Okay.
say. Either
I just wondered if you had heard or
No,
had
I
an
don't.
opportunity to share with him.
Either you have a motion
Good news, yeah.
we can table it, or
You thought trying to accept the bid? I make a motion to accept the bid.
So we have a motion to accept the bid as it is, $15,000? Sale of the
$15,100.
property for development.
That's correct. Which, by the way, would be your highest percentage that you have ever made on a parcel.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. And do we need a roll call vote or a Roll call vote for
Roll call
this. Okay. If you would do that for me.
I don't know if there's any discussion on the motion.
Oh, sorry. More discussion on the motion? I have a motion and a second to approve the sale of the land to a developer.
All right. Sharon Bryant,
Yes.
Kit Paraguay,
Yes.
Julius Parham,
Yes. Yes.
That was just me being.
Oh, yes.
He was thinking.
Oh, you think, okay.
Robbie Morgan,
Yes.
Sarah Proctor,
Yes.
Jimmy Dillahunt,
No.
Steve Strickland,
No.
Beth Walker.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Thank you, commissioners. And we will, I think, give Commissioner Wallace an exciting and happy phone call.
We will.
All right. Second order of new business, we are to consider adopting a resolution to approve initiating an upset bid process for the 913 Green Street property. And is this? Let me
One
see.
second, I'll be right there.
Okay. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Okay.
All right. All of these details were in the packet that I sent out earlier. Mr. Barry Hodowanek has made a request to purchase 913 Green Street for the from the Redevelopment Commission. The parcel was conveyed to the Commission in February of 2022. It is rated as a Zone X minimal flood risk, and Mr. Hodowanek has requested to purchase this lot for $45,000, which is 75% of the tax assessed value. The Commission is asked to discuss the plans included in your packet and consider the approval of this purchase from Mr. Hodowanek. He is here tonight to answer any questions you may have.
Did you mean $4,500 or 45,000?
Yeah.
Did I say 1,000?
Yeah.
You said 45,000, and I'm looking at the package, and it says
Barry said he'd
45,000.
like $45,000 number.
Good with that.
4,500. My fault.
4,500. Thank you for that.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay. So we are considering selling the property to him for development, once again, correct? For the
We are considering initiating the upset.
upset bid process. Sorry, because that is how we do things. We initiate the upset bid process. That's how we always sell
Unless you
property.
decide otherwise. So
Okay.
in this process, I think we're following our rules of procedure.
Yes.
This property was on the surplus property list, and the upset bid process is being utilized for those properties.
Okay.
Now, this property is owned strictly by the Redevelopment Commission, so it's subject to covenants and restrictions that we may wish to apply.
Yes, sir.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Is it so I'm seeing the pictures, is there currently
It is an empty lot right now.
okay, I just see a mobile home there. I wasn't sure what the picture was of, that's what I was.
And that's a good question. I'm assuming that this picture is an indication of perhaps the use as what you're planning?
Can somebody take me to 915 Green Street, please?
913, that's big. So here's
It is an empty lot right now.
all right, I'm sorry. Guys, if you
Behind Eubanks, Sampson. Somebody take me there. Julius,
Green Street?
Sharon. I know where Green Street is.
9:15?
Back behind where?
913.
913.
Take me to the church. Is it in the same block as the church?
No.
Is it in the next block by the park?
Yes.
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 there you go. Okay.
Oh,
I think it is this lot.
Is that the name on the left-hand side?
oh, the lot
Green
right before the duplex behind 1038 Sampson. Okay, behind 1031 Sampson. Okay,
Okay. You comfortable with where we are?
I am.
All right. So is this the plan for development? We have in our packet a drawn floor plan and the look of maybe a modular building.
My plan is to build a small house. It's not going to be modular. It will be stick-built. I'm working with a local designer to, the floor plans you have right now, I'm working to modify that slightly to fit within the setback limits with the current zoning. But the idea is to build it to rent out.
I'm sorry, there was some chatter. What would the plan is to build, how many bedrooms did you say?
It's a 3-bed, 2-bath.
3-bedroom, 2-bath, okay.
Yes.
And do you, my question is this anticipated to be an investment property?
Yes.
For a rental?
I plan on renting it out, using a local property management to target low to moderate income people. The goal is to have it come in somewhere around $1,100 to $1,200 a month, which is comparable to the area.
What are the specs on this lot, the size of the actual lot?
It's 50 by 100. You got setbacks of 15 in the front, 10 in the back, and 5 on each side.
Are you familiar with this area at all?
Yes, sir.
You are?
Yes.
Do you own any other properties over in that area?
I own 910 Green Street and 1612 Lincoln Street.
1612 Lincoln?
Yes, sir.
Is that on the very back street or on the throughway street?
I think Raleigh is the throughway street. Lincoln's the next one south of it.
On the back street?
Yeah, Lincoln Street's on the back.
Give me those properties. Was it 16?
1612 Lincoln and 910 Green Street. I'm actually in talks right now with the owner of, I think it's 908 Green Street, the adjacent property owner. He owns that property, and then the next property north of mine, property's more valuable to him, so I'm trying to actually sell that property to him.
Okay, any other questions or concerns? You brought up a good point, Commissioner Paragoy, that when we are making the decision to initiate the upset bid process, we usually put restrictions or on the property so that it is being developed within our plans for the area.
Yeah, and because of that, and because of what I'm looking at that's been provided to us for samples of what he's going to build, I feel real uncomfortable at this particular juncture. I would love to have time to see real plans that you plan on building rather than these sketches on the pad.
I've got them with me.
I know you did from earlier conversations, but again, we haven't had a chance to look at them, see them, or anything else that's just being dumped on us right now. And for that reason, I think that tabling this action until the gentleman can provide all of us an opportunity to look at it, and we can look at opportunities to craft whatever restrictions we may want rather than knee-jerk it sitting up here tonight when we have nothing to look at ahead of time and nothing to work from.
I agree with you totally, and are you making a statement, or do you want to make a motion to that effect?
Yeah, I would make a motion that we table this action pending further information being provided to us and deal with it at the next meeting.
And I'll second that.
So we have a motion and a second to put this off until we have more information about what the real development would look like.
To the December meeting is what I heard.
To the December
Yes.
meeting.
Yeah.
Can I just ask one question?
Absolutely.
I was going to ask him, do you have like a set timeline in mind or anything?
Right now,
Sorry.
I can speak well. Right now, I'm going to be building a tiny home in the area first, probably in March. I hope to start construction on this one probably in fall of '25.
Okay, I wanted to know if it was like a critical, you're ready to get in there and get started. I would
No,
have that as part of my analysis, but
I'm
okay.
in land acquisition right now.
Okay, got it.
I've got a question. When will we be prepared to make requests for any information that we will be needing, so that we can make an informed decision? I mean, such as the plans, whatever, so are we gonna need?
They said they're gonna have it for us for the December meeting, correct?
But what are we gonna have for the December meeting other than the plans? Or is that all that you're gonna need?
What would you like?
I think we direct
Yeah.
staff to collect the plans, because he has plans. He's got real plans rather than sketches on a pad, from what I understand, that the staff collect them and disseminate it to us ahead of time so that we can deal with this at the December meeting.
And then I would just encourage you to send recommendations based on restrictions so that Madam Attorney and I can draft a resolution that you can all preview prior to next month's meeting, so that next month we have a well-crafted document that we can actually consider.
That was my question, so you will be bringing more to the table than just the actual plans that he has, just the physical plans that he has.
Staff can also provide a GIS map of the area so that you can see the location and orientation of the lot dimensions, perhaps the zoning map, which will give you the allowable uses so that you can understand setbacks and those types of things. We can provide that information also if the commission would like it.
That's in their packet tonight. Just
That'll be, okay.
FYI.
Will it be along with the general covenants that we always have?
Those will be what you all recommend to me, and I'll make sure that we get them into the resolution so that you can review them.
And just wanted to note that I think we have historically said, like, we want building to start within a certain period of
Right.
time, which is maybe 6 months. So this is just me telling you that that's been kind of a historical, parameter we've put on it, just so when we sell property, it doesn't sit there and become just, another empty property for years and years and years and years on end. Because a lot of our mission is to, get houses up there and stuff. So I'm just letting you know that has historically been a condition, so just preparing for it.
Well, you have any flexibility with that?
I think we can consider it, sure. I don't,
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
yeah,
What we
yeah.
got.
yeah.
Yeah, just so y'all know a little bit about me, I work down at Nutrient in Aurora. I'm not a wealthy person. I'm financing this with cash as I earn it. So it's not like I'm sitting on $1 million ready to just go start spending money.
Right.
I've got to earn this. I'm trying to build something for my daughters long term.
Okay.
Thank you.
I heard it mentioned you're building a tiny home now. Is that going to be on one of the parcels you mentioned, or are you still in the planning phase for that? Or
It could be. I also have bids in on several other parcels in the redevelopment area. Likely it's either going to be on 1513 Lincoln or I think it's 919 Elm Street.
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I don't know if I'm correct or not, but you have a motion and a second.
Because we have a motion and a second to table this till we receive more information.
To the December meeting.
To the December meeting. And can we get a roll call vote for that, or do we need one?
We need a vote, yes. So you can do a voice vote on a motion to continue.
Okay, so all in favor?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so all in favor of the motion to table this to our December meeting, and we will receive more information before then, so we can make a more informed decision. All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed? Okay, the motion carries, and we will table that until our December meeting. Since we haven't heard from you much tonight, Mr. Huff, I'm going to turn it over to you for the staff report.
All right. Well, as you can tell, this month has been quite a busy month. We have a lot of things happening in the redevelopment zone. We have a lot of community a lot of community groups doing work. We conducted focus groups this past month. Have been in conversation with all of the leaders from Bloomfield Residence Council and the Phoenix Project. And two of our project groups were really active this month, being the Eubanks and the West A Street project, and I anticipate that the West A Street project will have an update very shortly. So just putting a call out there that you'll be called on to meet this month, because I've been assured that all field data is collected and only office work remains. In addition, Madam Chair, you and I had a conversation with the grant administrator, and so we have some questions about the process for the commission receiving grants. There are some leads that we're tracking down, and so as soon as we have some additional information from finance about how to establish independent EIN, or if that's even necessary, I'm sure that we'll have a grant update for you next month. I did attach the finance report for you. You will see that we continue to pay utilities and landscaping costs, and hopefully talk to Public Works. Hopefully this will be our last landscaping bill for the year. So with that said, that is my staff report, unless you have questions, and if you do, I'm more than happy to entertain them all.
At last meeting, we I think it gave you direction to contact the New Bern Housing Authority to see if they had any interest in co-developing or partnering with the West Street project.
Thank you for bringing that up. I did have a preliminary conversation. Mr. Barner indicated that would definitely need to be a housing authority board conversation for him to have at this month's meeting. They haven't had their meeting yet, and so he intends to bring that up to them to have that conversation with them. So I haven't heard anything back, but I look forward, and I definitely will report as soon as their board reports back. His primary reasoning for that, by the way, just as ancillary information, is because he's the interim executive director, and he wouldn't want to make any long-term commitments without consulting his board.
Yeah.
I'm not the interim executive director, and I wouldn't want to make long-term commitments without consulting you all. So he'll get back to us as soon as he can. Any other questions?
And also, Acorn, what he's saying, I think that would attract more developers as for the lower tracks, if we could partner up with them. So that's some very important information too, if you get it.
As soon as I get it, it'll be yours, Mr. Dillhunt, for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, commissioners, any other items to discuss? Staff? And I do not believe we have a need to go into closed session this evening.
No, ma'am.
All right, so now I need a motion to adjourn.
Second, make a motion.
Have a motion and a second?
Who's second? I'm sorry.
Nobody seconded
Oh.
yet?
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor to adjourn? Aye. All opposed? Okay. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Scared to go home?